Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Smash JT. THQ Nordic pretty much just told the world that they don't want anybody ever buying their games ever again. Well, except for some creepballs. They made quite the splash on social media today with their PR marketing director opening an AMA on 8chan to ask them anything. Which, on the surface, if people aren't familiar with 8chan, it's harmless. You know, AMAs are fine. But if you know anything about 8chan and the history it has all the way leading up to Google blacklisting the site, not showing them at all because of all the controversy that surrounded it, it's probably not a good idea for your company to blast it on social media that's where you're going to be holding your AMA. This kind of thing makes me wonder how much alcohol and drugs somebody has taken prior to making a decision. There are bad decisions and there are terrible decisions, and this one falls way below the terrible decision. This isn't even on the radar. This is not a good look for any company to be associated with a site that has a history of promoting things that if I say any of the words here, the video will be demonetized. I encourage those of you who are not familiar with 8chan to look up the Wikipedia entry on it just so you get an idea of what the controversies surrounding it are specifically. As far as THQ Nordic is concerned, this was confirmed to not be a hack on their account. THQ Nordic's PR marketing director spoke directly to Calvin, who is a journalist for PC Games Insider, and on Twitter he's followed by a lot of prominent people in the industry, so I would assume what he's saying is legitimate. Not to mention everything surrounding this seems legitimate as well, which begs the question, what the hell are you thinking, THQ? Honestly, I've been a fan of your company for a very long time, if you can't tell. Love my Darksiders, played the series forever. One of my favorite games of all time is Darksiders 2. Incredible game. Time Splitters 2, another one of my favorite games ever. Although that was made by Eidos at the time. They took over the license. And then THQ went bankrupt, went out of business, and THQ Nordic rose from the ashes and became a better company. Something that offered great game experiences to gamers everywhere. And they really were riding a high right now outside of the controversy surrounding Metro and everything that was going on with that. But this PR stunt, this thing that they're doing using 8chan, for what? To get attention? To get notoriety in the game industry? This is bad press, and it's a very, very bad look. Nothing good can come from this, and it makes you scratch your head as to why they would do this in the first place. How is someone even employed at a company coming up with this idea and still somehow having their job afterwards? Which is an assumption right now, because if the higher-ups at THQ Nordic found out about this and didn't know about it previously, it's one of the most bizarre and wild ways to go out. I guess if you're trying to really screw the company and make them look bad, you pull a stunt like this because you hate someone at the company, or you're really angry at how you've been treated, and this is your way of getting back at them, being the PR marketing director or someone in charge of social media, thinking that this is a way to get back at THQ. That's probably the only way I could see this being a legitimate thing that they're doing. Outside of that, if everybody at THQ Nordic was on board with this, what? That doesn't even make sense. It's crazy. The actual thread on Twitter underneath this initial post from THQ Nordic is absolutely hysterical. All the comments, the GIFs or GIFs, however you say it, there are a ton of very funny, comical approaches people are taking. Yes, there are some people that are upset. There are the frustrated people, but there are also people that are just more like me, like, what the actual F are you thinking with this? It goes on for a very long time with all of these comments, and everyone seems to be in agreement that this is just a beyond wild type of direction to take anything from a PR marketing department standpoint. As far as me and THQ with my history, I was a big fan of them for a very long time. In fact, one of my earliest videos I ever did interviewed Brian Farrell, who was the CEO of THQ before it initially went bankrupt back a few years ago, before THQ Nordic rose from the grave out of the ashes of that. And that was a pretty legitimate operation. They tried to make it work as best they could, and it just failed miserably at the end. But they all seemed like they had the best intentions in mind, and they really tried to make it work. Now with THQ Nordic and what they're doing with this whole situation, it just begs the question of WTF? I can't get over this. This is a developing story, so there will be more information coming down the road, but as of right now, they are still open. That site is still working. The link connects to 8chan, and they are still taking questions for THQ Nordic on 8chan. It's happening. There's a lot of comments there, and I'm not gonna link it in the description because it's just not a good site to link anywhere that's affiliated with Google, and YouTube is owned by Google. So if you're interested, go check out THQ Nordic on Twitter. One of their recent tweets, if it's still up, that means it's still legitimate. Bonus clip! Update! Okay, so I just finished filming this entire video and was about to publish it, and then saw that THQ Nordic updated us on Twitter, stating, I personally agreed to this AMA without doing my proper due diligence to understand the history and the controversy of the site. I do not condone a bunch of things here. I am very sorry for a terrible short-sightedness of my decision and promise to be far more vigorous in my assessment of these activities in the future. This was not about being edgy. This blew up, and I very much regret to have done it in the first place. Philipp Brock, PR and Marketing Director, THQ Nordic. Okay, so we want to give Philipp the benefit of the doubt that he wasn't familiar with 8chan and the history that comes with it, but I find it really sad that he would move forward with something like this without doing any kind of research whatsoever on how terrible this site is for PR and marketing, which is what his job title is, being the director, and not looking at that. That's a pretty big offense if I am the higher-ups over at THQ. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. I wish everyone the best. I don't ever want to see someone fired over a mistake, but this is kind of a big mistake, and we'll see what happens with it. With that being said, now I'm gonna end the video, but I am interested to hear what you guys think about this whole situation, and ultimately, what should happen to Philipp? Should he just get a slap on the wrist and continue working at THQ? Or if you were in charge of him, what would you do about this situation? Let me know down below, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching. You stay smashing.
Change.